Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the dining room table. This is Mistakes Were Made, and today is a different little bit of a video. I did mention that I was planning on doing this. We are going to look and compare 2024 January to 2025's January. And there are definitely going to be some big differences. We can already see that just in the teaser here. And yes, I couldn't find a piece of paper here on our table. I have to use like an opened piece of mail to kind of cover the info. So, we're doing it high style here, y'all. All right, so what differences do we have to show in the last year? Pretty significant. So first things first, you know what? I'm just gonna go like this. In 2024, we were only about 3 months into the process. We'd started in October of 2023. So January 2024, we figured out kind of what our budget is going to look like. We had created our mechanisms for staying on track. I had made, a billion spreadsheets, and I had come up with the one that I liked the best for the most part. It is always a constant, tweaking situation, of course. But as far as we're talking about financials, we still had the loan from my mom. There was still $2,000 that we owed her. We had the Discover card, which was at $10,359.52. We had the Bank of America card, which was at $8,895. The Amazon card, which was at $4,843.22. The Citibank card, which was at $7,425. The U.S. Bank card, that was at $8,635.34. And then I did note the Reflect card. It is only the $649.50 fee for the balance transfer. It didn't make sense to put the entire balance that we ended up with at the end of the month, because that was made from the Amazon and U.S. Bank dollar amounts. So that would have been like double dipping. So all told, our debt at that time was $42,806.58. This is after a couple of months of, getting our finances in order, figuring out our budget, and reducing our debt the best that we could. On the savings side, looking forward to the fact that I'm going to lose my job. I'm looking at this, and I don't know how well you can see, so I'm going to zoom in. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit better. I apologize if you couldn't see it very well this whole time that I've been blabbering on, but hopefully this is a little better. Let your eyes catch up to everything I've said already. Okay, so for the PTO, at the time, January 2024, the expected PTO payout, I had calculated as $3,601. Severance was at $3,794, and we had actually saved $7,790 already. Keep in mind, saving was our number one goal. We, of course, were trying to reduce our debt, but we had a very specific debt amount that we were putting towards debt each month at this point. And so savings was where any extra money was really going to, because we knew my job was going to go away and we absolutely needed a cushion, because there is no telling how long it might be that I would be out of work. So if you add those all together, it ends up with a total of $15,185. Oh my goodness. And at the time, the budget shortfall that we would be looking at, if you take what our budget was, subtract Mr. M's income, My share would be $2,050, which comes to about a 7.4 months worth of coverage with what we were looking at right here. The mortgage, we were at $242,153.62. And that's kind of the big financial info. Looking at us today, it is a stark difference. We didn't even have Mr. M's car loan or Mr. M's credit card on the horizon at all at the time in 2025. And now that, along with the mortgage, are our only debts. Insane. Absolutely insane. Never would have thought that that's what I would be saying right now. To that end, his car loan as of January 2025 is at $10,710.04. His credit card is at $544.77 for a total debt of $11,254.81. This is where our main focus is, though we are also attacking other areas in small ways, but this is where the bulk of any extra money we have is going to be going. We want to get this knocked out as quickly as possible because we have seen what the benefit of eliminating debt has done for us. So getting this out the door means that will affect the overall income that comes into our shared checking account. That affects how much my pay needs to contribute. That affects the minimum wage that I can accept for a job. If we're looking, to stay as just at budget. Of course, we have tons of dreams and hopes and things that we want to accomplish, things that we need to accomplish. So my goal is not to find the lowest paying job that we can sustain, but it is good to know what that looks like. At this point, the expectation for PTO payout is $8,080. For severance, it's $4,292. And what we have actively saved ourselves is $15,881.34. That's a total of $28,253.34. Our budget has increased over the year, so the amount that Mr. M's paycheck covers versus our total budget, obviously that has adjusted. And so my share of the job, the income difference is $2,200, which if you divide that into this means we have roughly 12.8 months of coverage available. Now, I did want to touch on a couple of items. There were some great questions on one of our last videos. The first one was talking about unemployment. I do not include any kind of income for unemployment when I'm talking about the job loss cushion. However, I will be applying for it. I am eligible for it. I just am not comfortable trying to figure out what my weekly payout would be because it is not a process that I am super familiar with. I've never applied for unemployment. This will be the first time I go through that process. So we are not going to consider the unemployment income until we know kind of exactly what that looks like. And then we can absolutely include that into the budget and make decisions on how and where we're going to use it. The other question was regarding, taxes, Social Security, and all of that when I'm talking about my numbers for PTO and severance. Yes. The question was, have you considered that those will be taken out? And yes, the numbers that I am putting down here, I usually put an asterisk next to them, but I'm not always on top of that. They include my guesstimate of how much they're going to take out in taxes. I want to say the percentage I'm using right now is like 28%. I think that's how much I'm using. Might be a little bit more. I could absolutely be woefully underestimating how much tax is going to come out. And so if that's the case, these numbers are going to be smaller for sure. So we're using these guidelines with a little bit of grain of salt, knowing that they could actually end up being less. I could also be overestimating how much will come out of the checks, in which case that would also be, a wonderful surprise if we end up with more money than we were expecting. But not really having a good gauge, I kind of picked an arbitrary number, but I am subtracting that percentage out from the total when I do a calculation of my wage times the number of PTO hours I have, or my wage times how many weeks I get for severance. And then I'm subtracting a percentage for taxes. Absolutely. So there's that. And of course, we are at $235,599, and I believe that's 94 cents for our mortgage at this time. So pretty big difference. I mean, what a difference a year makes. Just seeing this long list kind of makes me ill because, oh my goodness, it really makes my stomach hurt because I just remember how stressed out we were once we realized just how much debt we had. And then we coupled that with the not knowing how long we would have to try and turn the ship around. Being essentially in a never-ending loop of not knowing month to month whether you're going to have a job or not. The stress of that is just, it's crazy. And, knowing that if the rug gets pulled out from under you, even though you know it's coming, and you still have this much burden on your finances, it made it very difficult from a day-to-day basis. But as we started knocking these down and then knocking them out completely, it very much was a gratifying experience. And now in 2025, being in a position where, because we've removed this debt, we were able to make some adjustments to our budget to increase some financials, talking about like the cash envelopes, absorb a new pretty significant cost on a monthly basis, my healthcare cost, and still be maintaining the budget total amount that we were working with during this time period is huge. Being in a position to still be able to tackle Mr. M's car loan and try and get that down before time runs out on my job. It's back to being in this situation, but obviously not to the same extent. The best thing about it is we know we have the ability. We have changed our spending habits. We have changed our relationship with money. We have changed just our knowledge about budgeting. We never had a budget before. We do have one now. And we have experienced through the time of dealing with this, needing to shift our budget around and attempting to do so in a wise way. Now, we haven't always made the best decisions or maybe the most right decisions, but in the end, they have served us as well as they could, and we have made progress. And that is good for us to know and to experience, because we are definitely just, on the cusp of some very interesting times that we have not had to deal with before. Having only one income coming in, being in the job hunt. And for me, after, 17, 18 years, there are a lot of new stressors that are going to be coming my way, and coming our way as a couple. But at least from the financial side of things, I feel like we have a little bit better of a handle on it. We feel a little bit more in control. We can hopefully figure out what we need to do if something unexpected gets thrown our way. And we have honestly prepared as best as we can, and that's all you can do. So, we'll see what 2025 has to bring for us. It's definitely going to bring some changes. It's going to bring some challenges, and hopefully you will be along for the ride with us as we, weather through. But I wanted to kind of just do this quick retrospective, and hopefully it was of interest to you guys. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, just want to say hi, please note those down below, and I hope we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.